I'm Samantha, and we're going to be doing how to tune a snare drum today. The materials necessary in order to tune a snare drum would be snare drum itself, obviously, a stand to have the snare drum on top of, what is called a drum key to tighten the lugs on the snare drum, a snare in order to test the pitch while you're tuning the snare drum, and either a piano or most often uses a marimba. We have one off to the side here, and I have a marimba mallet in order to play the marimba correctly, because you don't want to be using a snare drum to play a marimba. This is our snare drum. Let's review the parts. This is the head of the snare drum, and this is the snare. These are the actual snares, the beads on the back. They create the typical snare sound when you are listening to a snare drum. And these on the sides are called lugs. These small screws that control the tension of the snare drum head itself. Most often we are looking to tune the snare drum head to an A, a concert A. So here's our marimba with the pitch of an A. So now that we have our pitch in our ear for what we're trying to achieve, let's listen to the fundamental pitch of this drum before we tune it. That sounds a little flat, sounds a little low to me. So let's begin with talking about how you're going to tune the snare drum itself. When you are tightening the lugs, you need to be sure to do it across from each other. So when you start tightening a lug, it goes from one end to the other. From here, if you tighten this lug, then you should tighten the one directly across from it. And then after that, go down like a star. So across, and so on and so forth. So let me demonstrate this technique. Oops. Okay. So we're going to tighten this to the right. And then since we've done these two, we need to go across now. So let's go to the side. You can hear that the pitches are different, closer to each side. So we need to raise this one because it's a little bit lower. And then the one directly across from it as well. The reason that you do it across when you're tuning the snare drum, tightening the lugs, is because you don't want the head of the snare to warp. So let's see how well we've tuned the snare drum. Listening to that pitch, comparing it to sounds fairly close to me. When you're in a rehearsal, it is important when you are resting as a snare drum, as a percussionist, to turn off and on the snares when you're performing. So this is what a snare sounds like. This is snares on versus snares off. So when you are performing and the snares are on and another instrument's playing, then their vibrations and the waves and the sound are going to affect your instrument. So it's important that this isn't happening when the rest of the band is doing a ballad per se. Thank you for watching How to Tune a Snare Drum. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments below.